Hi there everyone, FX Major here. Okay guys, on today's video I'll be actually simply showing you how I managed to take my trades and how I managed to take this GBP USD trade. As you can see guys, from here at this point here we are running profits, right? So on this video I'll be showing, or rather live trading with you, and show you how I actually managed to make profits on GBP USD. So guys, before we continue, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell to get notified once I upload. Right, so let's get into business guys. Okay, so on this video I'll be actually showing you how I managed to take my GBP USD trade and actually make profits, right? So we'll start with where it is currently, which is at this point here. As you can see guys, from this point here we can see that we have managed to take our trades at this point here, and now the market is at this level here, right? Therefore we took our second trade to the upside. Okay, so this video is going to be an educational video for each and everyone who wants to learn, and each and everyone who wants to know how we actually managed to take our trades and managed to be profitable, right? So if you haven't watched our prior video of module 1 whereby I get to teach you everything step by step, make sure that you watch that video guys, because most of our videos are there to actually help you understand fully about forex, understand how to actually execute trades, understand the whole concept about forex, right? Because a lot of people are being confused of this whole concept of forex and forex learning as a whole. A lot of people are being confused, and a lot of people are being shown strategies that don't work, right? They have been shown methods, or other things that won't work, or that they don't work, you know. So we are trying to actually make it simple for you guys, to make you understand how we actually manage to take our trades, and to actually make you know and see how we become profitable because of how we use our strategy, right? So we'll start with zooming it out, right? Remember that each time we enter or rather jump into the market, we make sure that we see the historical data first, right? We see the historical data to actually analyze and see how the market has been moving, or rather the market has been doing so far, right? Because the historical data also reveals to us the direction, the overall direction of the market, right? Alright, so since you know that we are looking at the historical data, we have to cater for our lower lows and higher highs, right? Meaning that we have to cater for how the market has been doing and where the market has been rejecting, right? So let me just jump into the daily time frame so you guys can have a clear view of what we are actually looking for, right? Okay, so seeing from the historical data, right, we could see that we are having a bullish momentum to the upside, right? We are having a bullish move to the upside. Therefore, a bullish move to the upside indicates to us that the market is actually doing quite good, right? Is actually doing quite good. Let me actually put this one. Actually put the outline instead of this one here. Okay, we can see that from the historical data we have a bullish momentum, right, or rather a bullish trend to the upside. So therefore we now know that the market is actually doing good, right? GBP USD is actually doing good, and the GBP currency is actually doing quite good, because with the historical data we can see from previously how the market has been doing. So looking at this, we can see and tell that we can put our vertical line at this point here, where the market rejected, guys, or rather where the market reversed and created a new structure, which we call a change of character or a change of market structure, right? So we can see that from here, this actually occurred in 2025. Yes, this year. This actually occurred this year, in January. As you can see here, the 16th of January. That's where the market actually decided to make a turn, or rather to make a change. and look for those beautiful bullish momentum, right? All right, let's go to, okay, we can see that this is our change of market structure, right? This is our change of market structure. So seeing, or rather looking at this as a change of our market structure, we can also tell that we have a beautiful pattern, right, which we can call an inverse head and shoulder, which is what actually created it's what created the change of market structure, right? Because at this point here we have this level here, let's use a color that will make you be able to see it, right? Right. Okay, this is our first left shoulder. So with this pattern, this is what we call an inverse head and shoulder, right? Where we have our left shoulder, right shoulder, and the head. So this is our left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder. So the reason being why I'm doing this, or rather starting from the historical data, is to actually make you guys understand and see how we manage to take our trades, right? Because we do not just take any trades, because we'll end up being not profitable and start losing. So in order for us to know which trades to take and which direction to take, we have to make sure that we fully know the market direction, or rather the market condition, right, before we can decide any further on what to do. This is our head. Don't worry guys, if you do not see it clearly, we'll try to zoom it in so you can see it clearly, right? The aim is to actually help you understand everything. All right, then we have, okay, so now we have a clear inverse head and shoulder, right? We have a clear head and shoulder, which is in this type of formation, right? We have a clear head and shoulder. So with this, as soon as we see a change of market structure or a change of market character, we have to fully know which pattern it has created, because it can create a lot of patterns, right? It can create a lot of chart patterns. For instance, it can also create a trend line structure, right, which reveals to us where the market will actually decide to go, right? Or rather a pennant, which is what I've explained on the prior video, which is module 1. I've explained about a pennant and why it's been created and how it's been created, right? So with this, we can see a change of market structure whereby we had an inverse head and shoulder and a shoot to the upside. So this whole move here is an indication to us. This whole move here, from this point to here, right? So this whole move here is an indication to us on where the market will obviously go, right? Because with the inverse head and shoulder, the market has to actually shoot to the upside, unlike having a proper head and shoulder where the market will go to the downside, right? So this is an inverse head and shoulder, meaning that it's a reverse of a head and shoulder, right? So this whole move here was an indication to us on how the market will be behaving. First thing that we can tell or rather see is how the market will be behaving. in terms of volatility, manipulations, and all those things. So with this, we can see how the market has been behaving, because we know that with a chart pattern, there's high possibilities or high chances of a proper win rate set up, right? I like just having a market or other change of structure just like that, right? So with this, we can actually tell that we will have a proper market condition, right? Hence why we had this beautiful push to the upside as a proper push to the upside, right? So let me zoom it out. So seeing that we have this change of market structure, all right, let me actually make an example with the pile market structure, right, to actually show you what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the proper setup and a proper move to the upside or move to the downside. So with this here, we have this here as a change of market structure, right? We have this level here as a change of market structure, whereby the market shot to the downside, right? Whereby the market shot to the downside. So if we can view this in a beautiful scale, or rather in a much more accurate scale, we can see that this was just a change of market structure, right? Or rather a change of market structure which resulted with the bullish momentum before the actual change of market structure, because we can also tell with seeing that this was a bullish momentum, right, to the upside. This was a bullish momentum to the upside. So this also is a chart pattern, as I've told you, or rather explained it to you prior, that the market, as soon as the market changes, the market makes sure that it has a proper change of market structure, right, resulting in a chart pattern, right? So with this chart pattern, we can see that there was not much of a volatility, because, or rather a beautiful market movement, because if we can zoom it in, we can see that this was just a shoot to the downside and leading to a huge consolidation at this point here, which is not what we want, right? We do not want any consolidation, right? So this resulted to a consolidation. So this move here, or rather this whole uptrending structure or the bullish structure, resulted into a consolidation, which is not what we want, because with the consolidation, the market does not have a clear move of where it's going, right? Therefore, that's where you get a lot of people making losses, losing their money, because they are trying to actually catch the move which is not there, a move which will happen probably after weeks or even months. That's what you call a consolidation. So we are not looking for any consolidation, we're just looking for retests and a proper market direction, right? So all this here resulted to a not good push to the downside, because we had a huge consolidation. I'm sure a lot of people actually held this. If there were people who took this trade from this level here until this level here, this is a huge consolidation, right? So imagine someone taking a trade from this point here and actually holding for weeks, because 2024 month of the 10th month and the 11th month, that's where the market decided to shoot to the downside. But imagine holding this trade for a month without seeing any profits, but instead the market is not doing anything. You do not experience any losses, you do not experience any profits, you're just waiting. That's a waste of time, guys. If you can just wait for this move here, that's actually a waste of time, because the aim is not to wait for the market to actually decide on where to go. The aim is to make money. So with this here, we are not looking for this type of setup, right? We are looking for this type of setup which will result to a beautiful push to the upside, right? So as I've said to you, that with the chart pattern, it actually depends, or rather differs with the chart pattern, because as soon as the market changes its character or changes its direction, we know how the market will play out in the future, right? So with this here, with this trend line, it wasn't much of a good move to the downside, right? Because we have this here, but however the market played out in an improper manner, or rather an improper way. So we are not looking for this type of setups, right? Because the aim is to make money, and the aim is not to lose money. All right, so let's go to the current market structure. So with the current market structure, as I've explained, that as soon as we can see a beautiful chart pattern, we know the direction of the market, and we know how the market will play out in the future, right? We know how the market will play out in the future, because as soon as the chart pattern reveals to us how the market has changed its direction, we can know how the market will play out. We can know about the manipulations of the market. We can know about the influence of the market, or rather how the market will be influenced, or rather how the market will create its own direction, right? So with this here, we can see that we have an inverse head and shoulder and a beautiful push to the upside. So what we are actually looking for is this continuation of a market structure, right? Which we call a retest. As soon as we get a retest, we know that the market will shoot to the upside, right? Including here, we had a retest and the market shot to the upside. Also at this level here, this point here, we had a retest and the market shot to the upside. We had a level here, and the market shot to the upside, right? So this is a confirmation of how the market is actually behaving, or how the market is actually doing, right? So with this, I can simply tell that the market has been doing quite good. Hence why we managed to take this beautiful trade. If I had looked at this, or rather looked into this much more earlier, I would have probably taken my trade at this point here. I would have probably taken my first trade at this point here. My second order. At this point here. Third order. Order, and our current order, right, which is at this point here, which is our current order, right? Our current order. So with this, we can actually tell and see that this market is actually doing quite well, because I have also taken my trade. So imagine if I managed to take this first order at this level here, this second order is at this level here. Imagine with these orders which were created at this point here, I would have taken my first order at this level here, second order at this level here, third order, and fourth order, which is at this level here, right? So this is where I would have taken my trades, right? So let's go back into analyzing this whole market so that you guys can fully understand how we managed to take this trade, right? So let me remove this. Let me just leave them because they will help us in us seeing how the market played out, right? How the market played out. Are we still in a daily time frame? All right, we are still in a daily time frame. Okay, so let me zoom it out. Okay, so zooming it out, we can know what to expect, right? As you all know that we have to start putting our higher high and lower low levels, right? So we have our lowest low here, which is our change of character at this point here. Let me just flip this one. Okay, and then we have our level at this point here, which is our significant level, our level at this point here, our level at this point here. So this is actually simple, guys. For you to understand this, it doesn't take you years to understand it. A few months, then you're good to go. So just few months, you're good to go. But I do not recommend that you just start without actually back testing the strategy, right? Or rather back testing the whole concept of everything, right? So I do not approve, or rather, so it's better for you guys to actually understand this, back test it, and be able to start making money, right? Because the aim is to make money and not to lose money. So seeing that we have our levels, or other zones with the market rejected and reversed, because I've also explained this whole thing, or rather why we put these levels, right, on the prior video, which is module 1, right? So if you haven't watched our module 1 video, make sure that you watch it and start milking the market with us, right? So seeing that we have placed our zones here, we can simply see that we also have this move to the upside, right, which is a bullish move to the upside. So seeing that we have a bullish move to the upside, we know that as soon as the market reaches its zone, or other, which is a bullish move to the upside, we have full understanding and full right, let me just, yes, we have full understanding and full market direction where the market will go, right? So with this, we can know, rather, we now know where the market is actually heading to and how the market is actually doing, right? By seeing the historical data and fully understanding this whole concept on why the market created this and what we should expect as soon as the market creates this, right? So going to the 4-hour time frame, let us go to the 4-hour time frame, right? Zoom it out. Okay, so going to the 4-hour time frame, we can clearly see that we have a beautiful market structure, right, which we can put our trend line at this zone here, creating to us a beautiful move, right? Okay, we can copy it here. Okay, let's just put another object or another trend line. We'll just clone it, right? Just clone it and we place it at this level here, right? We place it at that zone there. So what we can tell, or rather what we can see and look at, is that we have another trend inside our overall trend, right? Meaning that since now we have two trends, which is a trend in trend, because this here, this line rates here are our overall trends on how the market is actually moving, right? It's our overall trend. So with this, inside that overall trend, we also have a trend, right? which is the same trend that we have as an overall trend. So with this, we can also tell that, seeing that we have this trend here as our bullish trend, we can tell and see that we have a beautiful market structure, or a beautiful market condition, right, which led us into having a beautiful buying move, or the bullish buying momentum, right, because we had our first touch at this level here, first touch, second touch, and third touch, right? So this is our confirmation of the trend. And then at this point here, we have our first touch here, second touch here, third touch at this point here, and our fourth touch and fifth touch before breaking to the downside, right? As soon as the market broke into the downside, we had our confirmation that we would be looking for beautiful sell positions, right, or the selling move to the downside, right? But however, because now we have our level, which we have explained prior, we can see that with that level we have a beautiful move to the upside, right? That level confirmed to us as a beautiful move to the upside, hence why we managed to take our trade at this level and shoot with it to the upside, right? Because I've explained that as soon as we have a retest, that's where we would see the have confirmation of a setup, right? Because if you can still go to the prior market, we had what you call a trend line at this time, not a trend line, but a retest at this level here, right? That's the first retest which we had, and then we had a second retest and then a shoot to the upside. So already with us having two retesters, we can have that confirmation that the market is actually respecting setup, and the market is actually moving in a bullish momentum, right? So with just two confirmations, those are high confirmations to you on how the market will actually behave, or rather which direction the market will take, right? So we had our first retest, which is not that much of a confirmation, right? And then we have a second retest, which is a sure confirmation of the market movement, or rather the market behavior. And as soon as we have the third confirmation, that says a lot. It really says a lot, because we can now know how the market is actually moving, and we now know how the market is actually behaving, right? So the second touch is okay. There might be a possibility that the market might continue to give us a good behavior, right? That's the second confirmation. The first confirmation is an actual confirmation of whether the market will behave, or whether the market created the retest, probably to make people lose money, or rather to make people think that the market will go into the right direction, but instead it will blow their accounts, right? So with the second confirmation, we have all that. We have something like a 70 to 80% assurity that the market is actually behaving, right? And the market is actually moving in a good state and in a good position for us to actually start making money and start being profitable, right? And then once we have the third touch, that's where we should know that the market is moving in beautiful structures, right? Or rather is giving us a high 100% assurity, or the confirmation that it's respecting setup and it's respecting the retests, right? Because by me saying this is that with this bullish trend line, right, we would expect the market to actually shoot to the downside. That's what we should expect, or rather we would expect, because we can see a breakout of that structure. And therefore the market has, by all means, it has to go to the downside, right? The market, it has to go to the downside, whether it likes it or not, right? It has to go to the downside, or at least reach this level here, whereby we had our retest, right, before it actually shoots to the downside to test this level here, right? So with this, we are fully sure that the market has to shoot to the downside. It has to shoot to the downside. But one thing we are forgetting is that the market has shown us that it's respecting its setup. It has shown us that it's not being manipulated. It's going through the condition of a smooth market condition, right? So we can expect that the market should respect that too. We should expect that the market should respect what it has shown us or what it has given us, right? Which is the retests at these levels here. So a lot of people would have expected that the market should shoot to the downside. Why? Because the market broke its structure here. But what did the market decide to do? The market was like, no, guys, I won't go with what you guys are telling me to do, or I won't go with what you guys are saying. Instead, I will move with what I promised other people, right? I promised people what I promised people that I will do. What I promised people, I will do, right? So therefore, it decided to respect its promise, right? Because from the first retest, second retest, and third retest, it's a high assurity that it respects set up, right? It's a high assurity that it's doing what it has promised or rather shown to people, right? So even if people can anticipate or analyze that it has to go down, it won't do that. It won't do that. So the market talks, guys. I'm sure you guys are asking yourself questions on why are you actually diving deeper into this and making it seem like the market has its own thoughts or has its own understanding of things. What I can tell you is that the market is an algorithmic market, right? Or the financial algorithm, which actually is much more concerned on how the economy is doing, right? So with this, we can see that how this is actually doing. We can tell that this is actually speaking to us. We can fully understand that okay, so you are speaking to us, therefore we will listen to what you are telling us. Because the market won't say, or won't show you something that it will never do, right? It will show you something that it will do, right? Regardless of anything that might happen, any manipulation that might happen, any influences that might happen, right? As long as it has shown you its confirmation or rather its approval of how it's behaving, therefore you should have 100% assurity that you'll start milking the market. You should have high assurity that the market will go into your favor. You would have high confirmation that the market will do what it's actually saying or showing you, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have anticipated, and I'm pretty sure that you as the viewer, you would have anticipated that the market, as soon as it shot up, it will break and continue to the downside. But however, we are looking at what the market is showing us and what the market is revealing unto us, because if it wasn't for that, we would have probably taken the sell direction, right, and lost money. So seeing that the market is actually being truthful and honest to us, it decided to actually respect its setup and shoot to the upside, and also create a small retest at this point here, and also shoot to the upside, or rather shoot to the upside. So with this, like I'm really getting excited now, because I think I'm making it much more clear to you on how we actually managed to do this. I think I'm making it much more clear for you to understand how I'm actually putting out, or rather structuring out all this information to you guys. Because the aim is to make money. The aim is not to lose money, but the aim is to make money, right? Hence why I have my profit here on GBP USD. Okay, so let me just zoom it in. Okay, so another thing that made us to have high confirmation, or rather to have high assurity, is because of this first retest level at this point here, right? The first retest point here was and also assurity, but we were not quite sure about it until we have the second assurity at this point here. That's how we managed to take our beautiful buying trade, right? which this also created a chart pattern, right? Sometimes the market will change its structure with this chart pattern, which is called a W type formation or a W type structure, which is created. I don't know if I'll be able to create it in a much more clear way, but I'll try by all means to let's just move this one. Okay. Which is what we call a W type formation, right? Okay, this is what we call a W type formation. So as soon as you see this in the market, just know that you have a beautiful setup, right? So sometimes the market can make a change of market structure, can make this, can change the change of market structure in this type of form, right, as a W type formation. This is also a confirmation of the market move, right? Because with this we have higher assurity that the market, so this here it's much more similar to this, right? Because it has high volatility and proper direction, right? Because the market has to shoot to the upside as it did with the inverse head and shoulder, right? So the market has to actually go to the upside. Even if you can go in a type of formation like that, it will still go to the upside, right? So this here created to us as a high assurity that the market will still shoot to the upside, right? Hence we had this double bottom type formation and a shoot to the upside, or the continuation to the upside. Okay, so seeing that we have a confirmation to the upside, just leave it like that. Seeing that we had a beautiful confirmation to the upside, we had this beautiful move here, which resulted to this whole move which we have here, right? This whole move here is this, right? So seeing that we had this beautiful move to the upside, we also had what we call a retest level. At this level here, right? We have a retest at this level here, right? So seeing this, we can tell that the market will actually change its direction, right? And continue with the sales. But however, and continue with the sales, right? This is what we can anticipate, or rather tell from the market, right? That the market might try to create move with the sales, right? This is what we can anticipate. But however, seeing that the market is still in a bullish structure, because it hasn't broken below this structure. Seeing that the market hasn't broken below the structure, we still have confirmation or other assurity that the market will still shoot to the upside, or rather continue with the upside direction, right? Because this is no longer considered as a trend, right? Because the market did not respect it, so therefore we cancel it out because it's not being respected as a trend. But instead, this is being respected as a trend. Our overall structure is being respected as a trend. Therefore, that's what we should follow in order for us to see how the market is moving and to know the full direction of the market. So currently with this, we are still waiting for a confirmation, because we can see a bit of a retest at this level here, hence why we entered our trade. We are just waiting for this market to break at this point here, and we push to the upside, right? So this is what we are anticipating, and this is what we are actually looking for, and this is what we are actually doing, right? So in that case, I'll just take it at this point here and put my stop loss level here at this point here, because the market has to actually break this zone here and shoot to the upside, right? So seeing that my stop loss level is at this point here, we still have assurity that as soon as the market comes to this point here, it will close some few profits, right, instead of just closing losses. But however, this is what I'm still anticipating, and I'm actually looking for buys at this point here, and therefore I'm actually expecting this whole move here to be our change of structure, as we did have here, right? So this whole move here should be our change of market structure, and therefore it should shoot to the upside and continue shooting to the upside. So going to the 1 hour time frame, yes, we can still see that as a possibility and high confirmation, right? So this is what we are actually looking at, and this is what we are actually looking for, right? So do make sure that if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel to not miss out any video or any upload that we will be making in the future, or that we will be making, right? Because we'll be uploading more content that will be of high education to you guys, that will teach you a lot about forex, teach you a lot about understanding how we analyze, understanding how to actually start being profitable, right? So seeing that we have these zones here, we have high assurity that the market will still shoot to the upside, hence why we try by all means to educate you guys and to show you how to actually start making money and start being profitable, right? So do make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit the notification bell to get updated once we upload, right? So this is FX Major. Let's make money make sense, guys. This is FX Major, your mentor, signing out.